Hello everyone, today I'm here to share with you my January wrap-up. January, the first month of 2018 is already over and I read 10 books. What? I was not expecting that at all. Usually January is a pretty good reading month for me because it's the start of a new year. So it was super cold this month, so it was snowing a lot where I lived and I couldn't go outside, so I was stuck inside. So I was like, let's read all of the things, and boy did I. I'm excited with my reading month and my reading progress of 2018 so far. I'm excited because I'm reading a lot of different things, I'm reading a lot, and I'm enjoying the majority of things that I am reading. So let's get into it. As always, I'm gonna start with my least favorite book, working up to my favorite book of the month. The first book I want to talk about is Unearthed by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. This is the first book in a new sci-fi series, and this is all about this planet called Gaia. And Gaia had this extinct alien race called the Undying, and the Undying left a message for Earth because Earth is really, crumbling and it's not doing so good. So Undying left a message for Earth and tell them all the things they could do to help their race. So a lot of people quickly go to Gaia to kind of learn more about it and also try to scavenge the planet. And we follow 2 main characters, Jules and Mia, and they're both there for very, very different reasons. Jules is there to learn more about Gaia because there's a secret message within the message that the Undying sent, and he wants to learn more about it. And Mia is there as a scavenger. She's just trying to take anything she can to help her out on Earth. And these 2 meet up together and they go on a journey. I describe it as Indiana Jones in space. So basically Jules and Mia go to this temple and they have to go through many pitfalls and I wouldn't say games, I don't know how to describe it, like different questions and things they have to do, much like Indiana Jones does a ton. So I enjoyed this book. It was definitely very fast paced. It had me interested from the start to finish. It was kind of lackluster at times. The pacing was good, but it was lackluster. I felt like I didn't care too much about the characters. I was interested in them, but not like quite interested enough, but I still enjoyed it. It's a good sci-fi book, especially if you're into the whole adventure sci-fi thing, which I guess every sci-fi book's kind of adventurous. But either way, I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was a solid book. Like, it wasn't one of my favorites, but I didn't dislike it at all. It was very interesting. So the next book I want to talk about is Sourdough by Robin Sloan. I gave this book also a 3 out of 5. I'm still so conflicted by this book. This book is about making bread, is what I'll say. It's about a main character, Louisa, who works at this robotics company, and pretty much, long story short, she gets involved with baking bread, and it's just, the first half of this book is so amazing. It's all about, her working at this robotics company and baking a whole bunch of bread, and you fall in love with that process so quickly. And then the second half gets really odd and peculiar, like too peculiar. Pretty much the bread kind of starts to talk back to her and communicates back with her, which is a weird part, but Robin Sloan is known for writing kind of very quirky and peculiar things, which I didn't mind. But then she gets involved with this farmer's market that's very odd and bizarre, and that's where it kind of took a turn for me. So I rated it a 3 out of 5 because, if I'm honest with you, I would give the first half like a 4.5, close to 5 stars. But then the second half hit and I was like, what the crap am I reading? I go into more details about this book in a mashup review, which I'll link right here and down below. I'd say if you're like a huge fan of bread to read this book. If not, I don't know. It's like I'm still so conflicted about this book, honestly. Like, it's just so odd. The next stack of books I pretty much rated either 3.75 or closer to 4, so I'm kind of stacking them all together. The next one I want to talk about is The Music Shop by Rachel Joyce. This takes place in 1988, the year I was born. What? And it's in London. It's basically all about this music shop that this guy named Frank owns, and he's a really diehard fan of vinyls. He believes in vinyls. He does not believe in cassettes. He does not believe in CDs. He is an old school fan of vinyl. And he lives on the street with a whole bunch of other business owners, and they're all kind of like a family. And basically one day this woman comes in and she wants to learn more about music, and her and Frank kind of form a relationship. I really enjoyed this book. I would say this is more of a quiet self-discovery book. It's about music and discovering your passion for music and pairing the right music with the right person for what they need in their time. It's about family and having a family, like with being business owners and stuff, and it's about love. It's overall a very adorable read, and if you're a huge fan of music, especially vinyl, you must read this book. I really enjoyed it. I gave this like a 3.75, closer to 4. I thought it was just adorable. This was also a my Match It review as well. Next up, I have Love, Hate, and Other Filters by Samira Ahmed. I gave this book a 4 out of 5. I really loved it. This is a debut novel, and it's about a girl named Maya who is Muslim American. This book, she really wants to go to NYU to be a filmmaker, and her parents don't want that for her. They want her to go to college close to home. They want her to be very much in her Indian culture, and she doesn't know how to decide what to do. She really wants to please her parents, but she ultimately wants to follow her dreams. And then one day, a terrorist attack hits close to home, and the terrorist has the same last name as Maya's name. And so her family starts to get slandered, even though they have no connection to this. Town really becomes a horrible place to live in. This book was beautiful. I thought it was a great debut novel. I loved the way it was written. It was really cute as well. There was a great love interest in it. And I loved reading about, you know, Maya and Indian culture and her learning and her family just really trying to live the American dream and love America, but also have different beliefs and, you know, still try to be very rooted in America. I loved reading about that. It was a very interesting book, a very diverse read, and I think a very important one at that. So I would highly recommend. This is the only one I didn't get to like do a really extensive review on this month, which I'm sad to say, but I would really recommend it. It was just awesome. And then I have The Hagglewood by Melissa Albert. I give this book, I'm gonna go over the place in my reviews today, like a 3.75. Kind of. I do have a video review of this one as well on its own. This is a first book in a series. I don't know how many books it's going to be. And it takes, oh, this is such an interesting book to explain. This book follows Alice. And Alice and her mom have been on the run forever. They feel like bad luck follows them wherever they go. And then they receive word that her grandmother has died. Her grandmother was actually a very acclaimed author. She wrote this book called Tales of the Hinterland. It was like 7 short stories, a very dark and creepy and horrible. She died in her estate called the Hagglewood. And so Alice and her mom decide to settle the roots down because they feel like the bad luck is over. And Alice's mom gets kidnapped from somebody claiming to be from the hinterland from her grandmother's book. So Alice teams up with somebody else that has read her grandmother's book, and they go to the Hagglewood to try to save her mom. This was a very interesting book. It was very dark, very delicious, I would say, but it was ultimately a kind of a letdown for me. I was honestly wanting to give this book 5 out of 5, but the ending was so choppy and very rushed in my opinion. And it was, I don't know, I'm conflicted about this book as well because I did enjoy it. It was memorable. Like I still think about how dark the tales were and I was really interested in that. But overall, like the ending was not so great and the writing wasn't, I didn't love it. It's very descriptive. I said time and time again, if you really enjoyed the writing style and Caraval, because Stephanie Garber were very, very descriptive things, you would enjoy this book. But if you're interested in like dark fairy tale stuff, I would highly recommend this book. Overall, like I liked it, but I just wanted to like it more. Then I have Still Me by Jojo Moyes. This is the 3rd book in the Me Before You series, and I really enjoyed it. Again, I have an own video review for it. I'm trying to review more for you guys this year. Me Before You is a very controversial book. You either hate it or you love it, and it's got a lot of problematic themes in it. There's no secret about that. I ultimately like Me Before You, but I know there's some junk wrong with it. I did not like the 2nd book, After You, so I was very hesitant about this one, but I really enjoyed it. It was very heartfelt. It was adorable. Ultimately, I just love Louisa Clark. I think she's just a breath of fresh air. She's such a good-hearted and good-natured person. This is all about her journey over to New York and working there for a year, and love interests happen, and I can't say anything else because it's a sequel, so I don't want to spoil you, but I really liked it. I was surprised of how much I liked it, so I gave it a 4 out of 5. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, but I thought it was just adorable. Loved how the progression of Louisa, it was just so sweet. So check out my review if you want to learn more. Then I have Meet Cute. This is a YA anthology edited by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and it has like, I want to say 13 stories in it. Short stories all about meet cutes. I do have a video review for this one as well, where I talk about each individual short story, so I would check that out. But overall, I thought this was adorable. If you want something cute and sweet to read for Valentine's Day, look no further. I really enjoyed this book. I gave at least 4 or 5 stories within this collection 5 stars, which very rarely happens for me in short story collections. It's literally a book about meet cutes, and I enjoyed and I enjoyed the majority of the stories in it. I can't say anything more because it's literally a book about short stories, but if you're looking for something cute and sweet and easy to fly through, I would highly recommend this one. Definitely one of my favorite YA anthologies for sure. The next book I gave a 4 out of 5 to is The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. Again, it's in my Masher review as well. It's a adult thriller novel. It's hard to explain. I'm not reading the book jacket because I always read the book jacket for this. When you read about this book, you will make many assumptions. You will assume you're reading about a jealous ex-wife. You will assume she's obsessed with her replacement, a beautiful younger woman who is about to marry the man they both love. You will assume you know the anatomy of this tangled love triangle. Assume nothing. So that's all you need to know about this book. It's all about this woman that you think's obsessed with this other woman that's going to get married to her husband, and you don't know. It was so good. I would have given it a 5 out of 5 if I'm honest with you, but the ending was such a letdown. I thought this book was so amazing, and then the ending hit and I was like, what? It just needed to be better. It's hard to talk about, it's hard to review thrillers without spoiling the whole book because I would tell you the whole thing. But I'd say if you're really interested in a fast-paced, very plot twisty thriller, look no further, but the ending was just very lackluster. I love the writing in this. I love the plot twist. Didn't see them coming, but the ending, that's why I only give it a 4 out of 5. But seriously, one of my new favorite thrillers. I was surprised of how much I enjoyed this. The last 2 books I want to talk to you guys about are both 5-star reads. Yeah, starting the year off good. The first one is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I don't have a review up yet for this, but it will be coming next week. This is Holly Black's newest book, and it's all about the Fae world. It follows Jude, and pretty much Jude has 2 sisters, one twin sister, one older sister. And a Fae man comes to her house one day and he kills both her mother and her father, and he whisks her and her 2 sisters off to the Fae world, and it's about her living there. And we fast forward to her when she's 16, still living in the Fae world and still trying to figure out how she can fit in with this Fae world, because the Fae people are very manipulative and horrible, and she wants to win her place in the Fae world. This book is all about politics. There's this king in this, and he's stepping down from the throne, and we have a lot of players that vie for the crown. I really enjoy this book. It's very dark, very twisty, a lot of kind of other things in it. My review goes into the more details about it because there are some problematic themes in it, which I fully understand, but overall, it was entertaining from start to finish. I was shocked at how fast I flew through this book. I thought it was going to take me forever to read. I've read it in like 2 days. I couldn't get enough of it. It was a ton of morally gray characters, a lot of political play, a lot of Fae kind of evilness, because the Fae are just kind of horrible people, but overall, love this book. 5 out of 5. Like I said, my review will be coming up very, very soon for this book. The last book I'm going to share with you is my favorite read of the month, hands down, and that is Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman. This is the sequel to the book Scythe, which was one of my favorite books of last year. I love this book. This series is so gripping. I'm so mad at myself that I haven't filmed a review for either of those books. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on both Scythe and Thunderhead together, please let me know. I really want to film a review for you because this book's been blowing up lately, especially the first book, with good reason. Like, I'm finally like, oh, people are finally starting to read it. Yes, please read it. It's so good. This, pretty much, I'm going to tell you what the first book's about. We have a world where there is no hunger, there's no famine, there is no diseases, and we've pretty much even conquered death. The only way to control the population are these people called the Scythes, and they kill people. And in Scythe, we follow 2 trainees, Citra and Rowan, who become apprentices to this one Scythe, and they learn all about the Scythe world. And it's a book that'll make you think constantly. It's a very thought-provoking book, and it's a book that's so gripping from start to finish and just amazing. I love the way Neal Shusterman writes. I love the way he crafts this story together and the characters you really care about, and the plot just, so thought-provoking. So I love the sequel. I thought it was amazing. I loved it, I think, even more than the first book because it got into more politics and more right versus wrong and what do you think. 5 out of 5. Highly recommend this series. If you want me to film a review on it, let me know. I would love to do that. Alright, those are all the books I read in January. This is probably a super long video, but if you have read any of these books I talked about today, please let me know your thoughts and opinions on it. Do we have the same ratings or not the same ratings? I would love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.